Hello and welcome to For Such a Time as This, Living with Curiosity, Creativity and Courage. My name is Lynn Donovan. I'm the theologian in residence at St. Andrews in Picton. This weekend also marks the weekend of solstice, where probably hundreds of thousands of people around the world are marking this day when the earth is closest to the sun. There was a time, particularly within the Celtic world and certainly within Aboriginal sacred spaces around the world, that those sacred spaces and those sacred rituals were all connected to the seasons of the earth, or the seasons of the sun, or the seasons of the moon. I forget who said it, but somebody once said it's only the Christians who took it inside. But here we are outside again under the sanctuary of earth and sea and sky, and thinking about this event called solstice, thinking about the longest day of the year, the brightest day of the year, the day of the year with the most sunlight. I'm thinking about those words that Jesus said to his friends. He said, "You are the light of the world." What's interesting to me is I remember a colleague of mine a number of years ago who had done all kinds of work with the original Greek text, the New Testament Greek text. And he said, Lynn, all of those I am declarations, I am the bread of life, I am the light of the world, I am the vine, that the writers of the Gospels indicate are words from Jesus. He said, if truth be told, he said, if we are the body of Christ, then those words are also I am words for us. Yet for how long, for how many seasons did the church not affirm the light within each of us, or the capacity for light within each of us, the capacity within each of us for us to be bread for another, for us to be a cup of blessing for another, for us to be the portal through whom the one whom we call God shines and expresses love and grace and forgiveness. And so I'm inviting you to think about that right now. I think there's a tendency for those of us within this tradition to think that salvation is going to come from the outside. And it's unfortunate because definitely within our biblical text, we have some really mythic narratives that suggest, wow, when we get ourselves in trouble, God got us out. I think it's time that we rethought those texts. I think it's time that we thought how we understand ourselves to be in partnership with that mystery. And I think possibly time to take full ownership of what Jesus suggests is our own divinity. That's tough, isn't it? I think at a certain level there's a little bit more security in thinking that somebody else is going to fix it. But I think our own tradition, as well as I can tell just about every other spiritual tradition, suggests that the locale of the mystery that we call God is within the people of God, in Mother Earth, in the planet itself, in the birds of the air and the fish of the seas, and that all the other creatures have figured out what their purpose is on this planet, and we may be the last to have it figured out. So during this season of profound disruption, a season of profound grief as well, a season where the ground shifts under our feet and the life that we knew is not again, can we focus on this affirmation of Jesus that says that we are the light of the world? Can we consider how we might be curious about how might we better function as that light, especially in a season of physical distancing? How might we get really creative about being light for one another? And what might it mean for us to be even courageous as we become a vehicle for that light? So as I gaze at the community garden, and the growth is just exponential every day, I suspect it is too reflecting the season within us where the growth has been exponential every day, and with that growth, a certain amount of growing pains. But what if the purpose of all of this, good friends, is so that we will finally own our truest identity, which is as those who are light and engaged in a sacred partnership with the one who we call God, whose promise is to make all things new, whose promise is to never abandon us to ourselves, whose promise is that love and its power will never die. Go in peace, good friends, lit up from the inside out, as together as part of this global narrative, we play our own unique roles in bringing this earth, this human community, this planetary community to a place of new beginning, health, wholeness, healing. Such is our mandate as those who follow the teaching of Jesus.